What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I am discussing ways to create deception in the spread offense and how you can break tendencies and how you can create confusion. Let's get into it. What is deception? Deception is creating ways to confuse a defense, to break the tendencies that they're expecting from you. But before we get into that, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. I'm Coach Ross. If you've never been to this channel before, I talk about anything and everything spread offense football. We're talking about passing schemes, running schemes, give you different passing options. Anything and everything we talk about the spread offense football league, you're going to find on this channel. So if that's something you're into, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, give this video a like or any of my other content a like if you like the content. Really help me out. I believe that deception is very, very important for an offense, especially when you're facing good defensive coaches who figure out tendencies, who figure out your patterns. Creating that deception, creating that confusion, creating that tendency breaker can help your offense be that much more successful. In this video, I'm going to go over 3 different ways where I feel like you can use deception in your offense. And I'm talking about things like using different formations along with different motions. I'm also talking about doing things different at the line of scrimmage, pre-snap as well as post-snap. And then lastly, talking about packaging plays, taking one play and turning that play into 3, maybe even 4 different types of plays that you can run all at the same time. First thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to deception is at the line of scrimmage. There's a bunch of things you can do at the line of scrimmage. For example, I feel like you need to be able to change your tempos at any point in time, to go fast, to go slow, to go really, really fast, or even to slow it down to a snail's pace at any point. I feel like you should not be able to go fast just because you have to, just because you're down and you need a 2-minute offense, you need to get down the field and score. No, I feel like you need to be able to change the tempo and do it regularly to keep the defense off guard, on their heels, not prepared. Because again, the defense is trying to play off what you're trying to do. They're trying to stop what you do. They're trying to look for tendencies. So all of a sudden you go super fast and slow it down. You are obviously breaking tendencies and they are not getting comfortable. So you should be developing one-word plays, one signals. So for example, say it's 1st and 10 and you're midfield and you pull off a run for 7 yards. Have the ability to call a one-word play, race to the line of scrimmage, whether it be a one-word play or even one hand signal that everybody knows what it is, and you're going, and the defense is struggling to get back, struggling to get lined up. And one of 2 things can happen. Either you catch them way off guard and they're not lined up, and all of a sudden you have a receiver break free down the sideline, or the defense is not lined up properly and you're getting a 5-yard offsides penalty. So having the ability to go fast is very, very important. Having the ability to go super fast is very, very important. And the important key is going fast or going slow or slowing down, that changing the tempos when you want to. You need to dictate to the defense how you want to play, and they need to react to you. Once you start doing that, you have yourself the advantage and you keep the advantage. I feel also that the quarterback needs to change up his cadence. If you've coached long enough, you know that defenses, especially good defenses, the linemen, their ears are on. They're listening. They're listening to the cadence. And then eventually 2nd quarter, 3rd quarter, 4th quarter rolls around. They are timing up the cadence, knowing when that ball is coming, when that ball is going to be snapped. Linebackers are going to be timing up their blitzes the same way. So have the quarterback change up the tempo of his cadence, add different words, maybe different snap count, whatever it might be, to throw that defense off, to not allow them to be comfortable. Because again, you want to take away their comfortability, right? You don't want them to be comfortable. You want to make sure that they are on edge as much as possible, whether it's tempo, whether it's cadence. Also include those freeze calls, those check with me calls that the quarterback can use. So you do a simple freeze call. You get players to jump. Check with me's, which means you go to the line, you get into a base formation, and quarterback goes through some of his cadence. He claps like he's going to get the snap, and then all of a sudden you're looking to the sideline. That helps with the coaches can see how the defense is lined up, and then they can adjust their play call accordingly. Also, you might actually get a jump call as far as a offsides penalty. So these things at the line of scrimmage, these few things are easy to put in, easy to practice, and they are vital to creating deception within your offense. The next thing I'm going to talk about is formations and motions. You hear me preach about that on this channel a lot. I'm a big fan, a big proponent of having multiple formations and having a lot of motions, a lot of shifts, because again, it changes up the look for the defense. If you show one formation and then motion into another formation, it throws off the defense. They have to adjust to it. They're communicating. They're trying to communicate, trying to figure out who's got what. It just messes with the defense. So I think it's very, very vital to create those different types of formations and those different motions. So in my opinion, when you first start off, when you're first installing your offense, you need to develop base rules that can factor into a lot of different formations. For example, in my offense, if we are in a 3-by-1 set or it's an early set, the rules are always the running back would swing away if he's part of the pass concept away from the trips. The inside receiver is going to typically have that flat route. That middle receiver is typically going to have that concept route, especially when it comes to quick game. Now, when it's full field concepts, that's different. They always have the responsibilities, and the responsibilities don't change. But developing base rules for your 2-by-2 sets, your 3-by-1 sets that don't change based on the formation. So if you're in an empty set and you have that 3-receiver side and you're running a quick game concept to that side, again, the rules don't change because you have 3 receivers to that side and you have your 2 receivers to the other side. That's considered the backside. Backside, again, keep the rules the same there as well. So the receivers know I'm on the backside of this concept, whether it's quick game. I know what I have to do. So developing those base rules early and establishing those base rules is very, very important. Can do whole offense in all formations. All right. So in your formations, can you run your entire offense? So if you show a lot of 3-by-1, whether it's that early set and then go in, then following week, all of a sudden now, the defense has prepared for that 3-by-1 set, whether you are in early and you're doing that off the left hash. Now, all of a sudden, you show up in a bunch set. That messes with the defense because they're not expecting that. Because, again, that is a tendency breaker. All of a sudden, now you're showing up and you're showing this different formation that they're not prepared for. And your rules are still the same. You can still run your entire offense out of that formation. It's just giving a different look to the defense. Again, that is deceiving the defense because they don't know what to see. They don't know what to expect. They don't necessarily know how to line up to. Now they will adjust eventually, but that's when you change it up again. Keeping a small playbook, but large amounts of formations. Again, goes back to the base rules. Create base rules in a way that you can figure out how to run your entire offense out of multiple formations by keeping those rules the same so that it works for every single formation, every single play. But a small playbook that allows you to get those reps in practice, repping it out multiple times so that your players get good at it. Because again, the repetition is where it's at. More reps the players get, the better they get at it. And then use motion to confuse and throw off tendencies that a defense thinks they know about the offense. Again, a good defensive coach and good defensive players, they're going to watch film. They're going to study what you do. They're going to study what you like to do at certain positions on the field. So you need to figure out how can I break those tendencies? How can I change things up? Whether it's a simple shift to this, whether I start an empty, then I shift the linebacker or the running back into the backfield, or do I put him in jet motion? Whatever it might be, any kind of motions that can throw off the defense and give them not what they're expecting is going to be to your advantage. So simplifying things in your playbook with your rules is the best way to gain confidence and to gain an advantage against the defense, because the more you can do, keeping things simple is very, very important. So small playbook, like I talked about, base rules that you can have universally throughout all of your formations, develop multiple formations to give the defenses different looks. But inside those different looks, everything stays the same. How can you run the same plays out of different formations without changing anything? The only thing that may change, obviously, is with motions. You need to understand that, okay, a motion may change the responsibility of a certain receiver. So, for example, if we start out in a 2-by-2 set, say we start out in an ace and we shift our H back, our H receiver over to the right side, and now we're in early. So we go ace, shift, early, stick. All right, we're going to run stick to the right. Now we've changed from a 2x2 set to now we are in a 3x1 set. And that quick shift now has responsibility. So now H is running that flat route because he'll be the inside receiver. Our Z would be running the stick. Our Y would still be running the vertical. And now our X on the opposite side is now a backside. So our backside automatically is a slant. And then our running back knows, okay, I need to swing away from the trips. Base rules like that is something that you need to develop. And then universal based on what kind of motion you're using. Players need to understand responsibilities based on what you are trying to do, based on whether it's motion or you're just coming out in a different formation. They need to understand what their responsibilities are. So establishing those base rules can help with that deception, because that deception comes later with the motions, with the different formations, but your players already know what they are doing because they've repped it enough and they know that, hey, if I'm in a 3x1 set or if I'm in a 2x2 set, my responsibilities are this based on where I am at in the field. Last thing I'm going to talk about here is misdirection and packaging plays. So I feel like having a few misdirection plays within your playbook is very, very important. I'm talking about reverses. I'm talking about putting two plays in at once. I'm talking about using motion as far as like jet motion combined with some of your running game creates that misdirection, and you can take advantage of where the defense is overplaying something and come out the backside and have that open space to take advantage of. So, for example, like a reverse, like I've used before in the past, an outside zone reverse where we fake the ball to the running back, or you hand the ball off to the running back, and then that running back hands the ball off to a slot receiver coming back the outside. You could have a pulling guard coming around to help out with blocking. Certain things like that where you are creating that misdirection. Another thing you can do too as well is misdirection, like with jet motion again, where you are setting a player in jet motion, faking the jet and having a tunnel screen on the backside, or running counter and screen at the same time, showing counter one way and running the tunnel screen the back the other way. Certain things like that, I feel like you need to have certain misdirection plays to take advantage of the over pursuing or the overplaying of a particular play. Because again, defenses are going to play towards your tendencies. What do you typically like to do in certain situations, in certain positions on the field? And you need to be able to take advantage of that. So maybe you run a reverse to a boundary that they're not expecting. Certain misdirection plays can be very, very beneficial. Next thing, packaging plays. So I give you a couple examples here. We have our inside zone. A lot of spread offense teams, they like to run inside zone. I like to run inside zone. So you can start off with basic inside zone where you are blocking to the gap to the play side, and everybody's locked on, trying to create double teams, trying to get that second level. And then you added another little wrinkle to it where you are now doing inside zone read, where now instead of blocking that backside defensive end, that backside tackle is now taking a play side step. Is he's either doubling with that guard or he's moving immediately to the second level. And now you are reading that backside defensive end. And does that defensive end either chase down the line of scrimmage or does he squeeze it right there, watching the quarterback? Based on what he does, will determine whether the quarterback pulls the ball, keeps the ball, and runs it himself. And then you add in the RPO. So with the RPO, a couple things you can do. You can do bubble screens with it. You can do the slant and the stick. I'm going to talk about both here. So with the bubble, a simple way to do it would be quarterback comes to the line. You have a bubble screen attached to the play on the backside, and the quarterback just simply comes to the line and he's reading the box. He's counting the box. Is the box advantageous for us to pull off the run right now? Do we have the numbers in the box to where we can win with the run? Or do we have the numbers on the outside? So if you're in a 2x2 set, are they playing your 2x2 receivers? Are they playing them with two defenders, a corner and maybe a safety over the top? Or do they have 3/2? If they have 3/2, then typically the numbers advantage would be advantageous to run the football. But if not, and you see 2-on-2, that means that receiver is going to block up on the corner, and now the receiver has to beat one guy in open space. And typically that slot receiver, if we're running a bubble, is going to be one of our better athletes in space. So we like that advantage. And then lastly, with the slant and stick route, now you are blocking that backside defensive end. You're not reading him. Now you are reading that linebacker. And if that linebacker simply runs downhill to try and stop the run. We have a slant route, we have a stick route coming in and replacing that linebacker. So now the quarterback, instead of reading that defensive end, he's now reading that linebacker. And based on what he does, if he charges downhill for the run, quarterback pulls the ball and he throws it right where that linebacker used to be, with the slant route, with the stick route. And obviously, if that linebacker stays, you just simply hand the ball off. So those are packaging like the inside zone. That's an example right there. Another example that I like to do too is with the counter. Okay, counter is an awesome play, especially in the spread offense. But then once the defenses start playing or overplaying the counter, now what you can do is you can start adding the quarterback counter. All right, I'm a big fan of running the quarterback because, in my opinion, it equates numbers, because now you are still playing with 11 on 11. So the quarterback is that 11th person. If he just hands the ball off, he's now taken out of the equation. So now you're playing 10 on 11. So it equates numbers. So you can start running counter. They start keying on the running back and the guards and where they're pulling. So now you run the running back, you fake the running back, and you come back around with the quarterback and the counter, following the guard and the tackle through the hole for a big gain. Then adding in jet motion to that counter. So now you can either run the jet sweep if they are going to honor the jet sweep, or you can run the counter behind it, fake the jet, because again, the jet motion is meant to get defensive players moving laterally. All right. And I'm not talking about trying to have them move laterally where they are chasing that jet motion all the way across the formation. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about simply just freezing the defense for a split second, whether they take 1 or 2 steps towards the jet motion. That is enough space and enough room to create that little crease up the backside for the counter. So, and then simply, if the quarterback does not see much motion in those linebackers, you can have him read that. And if the linebackers chase that counter or chase that jet, then you hand the ball off. But if they don't and they kind of sit still, have the quarterback hand the ball off to the jet guy on the jet sweep. Try your best to package plays. All right, these are 2 examples. There are more that you can do with packaging. A lot of time it's packaging those runs and adding in those RPOs based off of that. So having packages of plays to where we can take advantage of what the defense is doing, and the defense does not know what to expect. That is the number one thing when it comes to creating deception within the spread offense, is keeping the defense on their heels, not allowing them to get comfortable. All right, you want to break tendencies, because like most coaches, all coaches, whether they are offense, whether they are defense, they are looking for tendencies in that offense or that defense that they can take advantage of, and that they can play to their strengths against that certain tendency. So I'm not saying change up everything in your offense, but have those points and times in the game where you say, you know what, I'm going to change things up here. So whether that means I'm going to go fast, whether it means I'm going to have my quarterback all of a sudden, in first quarter, we're going to go on 1, and second quarter, we're going to go on 2, or whatever it might be. Doing different things to change up your tendencies to not get predictable on the offensive side is key to the spread offense. And these are 3 things that I wanted to cover about creating deception in the offense that you can institute in your offense this spring and have these things ready to go for this fall. All right, so there you have it. Those are my 3 things that I feel like you can institute right now into your offense to be that little bit more deceptive in your offense, so that defenses cannot pick up on your tendencies and you're not predictable to the defense. So again, talking about changing up formations, multiple formations, use motions, also play the game at the line of scrimmage. Go fast, go slow, change up your tempos, change up the cadence. And then lastly, including packaging with plays like the zone, like the counter. Have those packaging plays so that you can take advantage of what the defense is at a disadvantage too. So those 3 things are key to having that deception within the offense. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you do, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this content. I will see you in the next video.